County Investment Advisory Committee this 13th day of October 2022 here in the Commissioner Chambers at just a skosh after 10. So roll call, please.
Lake County Commissioner John Hamercheck.
Here.
Lake County Commissioner John Pleshnik.
Present.
Lake County Treasurer Michael Zurin. Present.
Okay, we have before us the request for approval of the meeting minutes of the August 4, 2022 meeting. Do we have a motion to approve same, waiving the reading thereof?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, discussion? None being heard. Roll call.
Commissioner John Hamercheck.
Yes.
Commissioner John Pleshnik.
Yes.
Treasurer Michael Zurin. Yes.
Very good. All right, do we have any old business to come before us? Any old business? Hearing none, moving on to new business. Ma'am, the floor is yours. Good morning.
Good morning, and thank you again on this beautiful fall day to come out to beautiful Lake County. It has certainly been an interesting quarter, to say the least. The whole year has been very interesting, but from an investor standpoint, it has been a good, interesting point. So if we want to just flip real quickly to page 3, what we're demonstrating here is really how the Fed's rate hike cycle, of which we are in the midst of right now, has been the fastest one that we have experienced here since 1983. So a lot of reference to the interest rates and inflation particularly have been in comparison to 40 years ago, which would have been the 1980s. And clearly during the cycle, when we look at this chart, it shows that even in the 6 months or so, 7 months that the Fed has been raising interest rates, they've raised interest rates by 3%. And this is the fastest pace. Again, when we compare this to 1983, when it took the Fed about a year and a half to raise interest rates by a 3% increase. So clearly the Fed is pulling off the Band-Aid, we would say, as it relates to trying to combat inflation and moving forward very quickly. Expectations are that they will continue to do so with their latest forecast showing that we would expect to have 2 additional rate hikes in 2022. That would bring our overnight range from 3 to 3.25 upwards to 4.25 to 4.5, and then continue on the path, albeit at a slower pace, into 2023. We did have the inflation numbers released this morning. The Consumer Price Index headline number was 8.2%. The core number, excluding the volatile food and energy, was at 6.6%. That was an increase from the previous month's year-over-year number. And so the market has looked at that number and determined that, yes, not only will the Fed have to move as fast as what they have communicated back in September, but they may have to push that overnight rate a little bit higher. And the market is currently pricing in that the Fed will increase the overnight rate upwards to 4.85% in 2023. So a little bit of an increase over what our previous projections were. And of course, during these times when we have the Fed on track to continue to raise rates, we have economic conditions changing, we have inflation, of course, not responding as quickly to higher interest rates as anticipated. Each month, each data point really becomes very important as it relates to that path of interest rates. And when we look at the next page, we know this is not just the U.S. doing that.
Actually,
Yes.
before we move on, I just want to put a real fine point on this. We're
Sure.
talking about 3% in about 8 months
Yes.
versus 1983 of 18 months. Are we, and I'm just going to be blunt, are we in danger of stalling the economy?
The Fed has indicated that, yes, that we may have to experience some short-term economic pain, i.e., to your point, stalling the economy in order to combat inflation. And actually, we kind of point to that in...
So shutting the engines off on the plane to save
Yes.
fuel is what they're suggesting.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah, that's going to work great. Okay, we're
Yes.
going to turn a 747 into a glider. Got it. That'll
I
work
know.
for a while.
Right. Well, the Fed unfortunately, has historically overshot in raising rates. And so they have a bad track record, I guess we would say. And as we know, what they traditionally have done in times like this, and we can point back to the early 1980s, again, that 40-year reference, is they pushed interest rates to the point that, yes, it does push the U.S. economy into recession. The question then becomes, will that downturn be deep? Or will that downturn be shallow? Will it be short term or will it be longer term? And again, this is where the data points will start to determine, how this all plays out. I mean, we already have had the first 2 quarters of 2022 economic growth showing contraction. The first quarter growth was down 1.6%, second quarter was down 0.6%. The Fed optimistically assumes that the year-over-year growth will be positive. We think that's highly unlikely. They think economic growth in 2023 will be low, but not as low as what the market is expecting.
And this is the same brain trust that said inflation is temporary,
Exactly.
transitory, all these lovely adjectives. Okay, forgive my being a bit feisty today, but when I'm looking at these numbers, I can't not voice my concerns.
No, and I think your concerns are very well warranted. Yes.
Mr. President?
Sir.
I just want to say it's very troubling to see an 8.2% number when all the experts polled predicted 8.1, which is bad enough. That was a frighteningly high number, but to exceed the expectation, I'm not surprised the market is reacting badly. The inflation deniers, the science deniers who said that you could print unlimited amounts of money without reducing the value of the dollar, if Congress could pass a law requiring them to take a remedial economics class, the world would be a better place. At this point, if someone tells you that printing money doesn't cause inflation, we just need to, my goodness, we need to tune them out because we have to get serious. This country is in danger. The engine is overheating. And speaking as someone who took his professorship by publishing and discussing and researching inflation, it's just outrageous to see so-called Congress people, senators, and presidents pretend that they know what they're doing when they say we can print money and it will not affect the value. This is basic economics 101. It's supply and demand. If you increase the supply of any good or service without increasing demand, its value goes down. This is not debatable. It's called math. 2 + 2 = 4, and printing money causes inflation. And it is so sad that our families in Lake County, our seniors on fixed incomes, are suffering because of irresponsible deficit spending. And I just want to take a moment to commend the elected officials in Lake County for not only passing a balanced budget, but working with the commissioners to keep their individual department budgets balanced, because we cannot expect Washington, D.C. to do better if we don't do it here. So I wish to goodness that Washington had leaders like Lake County, because if we were president, senator, and congressman respectively, there would be zero inflation.
Very well put. Thank you.
We will now
Yes.
join our regularly scheduled program, already in progress.
Well, and I think, to Commissioner Pleshnik's comments, I mean, inflation, it hurts the people that have the least ability to feel the pain. And unfortunately, as we know, it is very much a supply-demand imbalance, and the goal of the higher interest rates is to destroy the demand. And so by destroying demand, because that's the only piece that really the Federal Reserve can control through interest rates is demand. They can't solve the supply chain disruptions. They can't solve the stimulus dollars that had flowed out of Washington, but they can destroy the demand that the consumer and businesses may have for goods and services through higher interest rates. And we have even already have started to see some of this as it relates to how this then flows through into the employment picture. The Fed kept rates extremely low and stuck to their transitory inflationary story because they were so laser focused just on the jobs picture coming out of COVID. And when the unemployment rate, reached the 3.5% level and they claimed victory and then shift their focus to inflation, that inflation engine had already gained steam. But with the demand destruction, this will certainly expected to have some fallout in the employment picture. And like I said, we are starting to see that already. There's a statistic that's released on a lagging basis called the JOLTS report, which shows the number of job openings. And we went through a period where there were basically 2 job openings for every person who was available to take a job. Well, the August JOLTS report showed a 10% reduction in the job openings. So companies are starting to pull back on their open positions, let alone even start to lay off folks. I mean, I heard, of course, on the radio this morning, University Hospitals is a perfect example. They're laying off a little over 100 administrative staff people. In addition, they are pulling off their open positions, about 400 positions that they've not been able to fill. So here we have 500 current and potential jobs that within the Northeast Ohio region that, University Hospitals is saying, we don't need to have those anymore. So this is a trend that we're starting to see not only here locally, but also nationally. Interestingly enough, folks like even Microsoft and Amazon are, putting in hiring freezes, as well as some of the other kind of younger technology companies have started to really lay off folks as well. And so, right, to your point, the inflation, which is the only thing the Fed can do, is raise rates because that's all they can control. Destroying that demand flows through to the employment picture, and with time, ultimately, should, from a textbook standpoint, lower inflation. But the question becomes, how long does it take for that to happen? And no one really knows that answer at this point. A lot will all depend also as well as far as hopefully the lack of any further programs coming out of Washington to fuel the inflation fire that is going on now. We've seen the leading economic indicators, which is a pretty reliable indicator of the path of the U.S. economy for 6 months consecutively show a downturn. And that, again, when we look back through history, that is also a very strong signal that the U.S. economy is headed into recession, as well as one of the components of that is the yield curve. The yield curve is inverted when we look at the level of 10-year yield on 10-year treasuries versus 2-year treasuries. There is about a 40 basis point, 0.40% differential between those two, with the 2-year rates higher than the 10-year. And again, that's a very reliable indicator of a recession heading. I would say that inversion has been not just in passing, it has become pretty consistent. And kind of for what it's worth, whether you like Jamie Dimon, CEO of JP Morgan Chase or not, his recent comments were that he felt the U.S. economy is headed into a recession in the next 6 to 9 months.
Commissioner Hamercheck, I had a comment about the inflation in Lake County. I had a firsthand experience yesterday at a food distribution that is done at the East Lake Senior Center. It started about 2.5 years ago while in COVID, and it started with 90 seniors receiving a food box worth $40 to $60. And yesterday was the most people that have ever come through the distribution, which was just over 300. And a lot of them talk about they cannot afford the groceries. They've gone up so much due to inflation, and this is such a blessing that they're able to get something that will help their budget. So definitely this is impacting residents in Lake County.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I know this is a job and family services concern where you have people with fixed incomes, but also the underemployed that are still being supplemented. They are definitely among the most impacted, but I will stop with my editorial comments. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
I appreciate the depth, though, that you're going into this.
Perfect. So if we want to flip to the portfolio review page, excuse me, of course, there's the downside, of course, of the rising interest rates, but there's also, from the county's perspective, a bit of an upside here as we are reinvesting funds at higher rates than what we were able to, what the market presented in over the past year to 2 years ago. I know, Mike, you had pulled some statistics about the portfolio yield.
Yes, I wanted to share these. I did look over the last 3 years of what the county was earning on interest on the portfolio, and by no means does this keep up with inflation, because it's not even close. But we have to do the best we can for the highest yield for the county. So this year, I believe, as of September 30th, 2022, the yield on our investments is 1.92%. That's what we're averaging overall. Last year, December 31st, it was 0.93%. So it has gone up nearly 100 basis points, 99 basis points in the year, just through watching what the Federal Reserve is doing on their increases and pulling money out of our cash positions and putting it into investment. We're able to double the weighted average return that the county is getting. So it's significant, and Eileen has been just wonderful to work with her expertise and timing not only the Federal Reserve increases, but also the maturities. They are paying at a very different yield. So watching what they're doing and the expectations of inflation and how long the Federal Reserve is going to have to keep increasing rates is real important to maximize what the county is receiving.
Yeah, and on that point, when we look at the maturity distribution of the current portfolio, and this is after, as the Treasurer's Office had moved $50 million out of cash over into the investment portfolio, and that was one of the things that we have talked about previously about, slowly getting that cash versus investments, in a more balanced position. When we look at these maturities now, we can see within the next 12 months, we have $50 million maturing within the next 12 months. And then the following 12 months, we have $70 million maturing. So a little over half of the county's portfolio is maturing within the next 2 years, which will provide ample opportunities to continue to invest funds, maintaining a balance on the short end, so riding the interest rates up, but also balancing that with maintaining some longer term holdings as well, and locking in some of those rates so that as these conditions unfold, if we get to a point, right, where the recession really does, come to fruition, and the Fed at some point, needs to shift direction, that we have locked in some higher rates for the county, which will serve to stabilize the interest income for those funds over the 4 to 5 year period. So clearly, being very cognizant of, what are now some challenging times economically, as well as some evolving times within the marketplace. But clearly keeping our eye on doing what's, right for the county, and working very closely with the Treasurer's Office. So are there any other questions or comments?
No, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Is there, gentlemen, anything else to add to the discussion?
I'd just like to thank Eileen Stanek for her expertise and her knowledge on the market. I believe it has really helped the yield return for the county, and we are in constant contact to increase the yield for the county over the next couple of years. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, and with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Very good. Roll call.
Commissioner Hamercheck?
Yes.
Commissioner Pleshnik?
Yes.
Treasurer Zurin, yes.
Very good. We stand adjourned, and if you give us just a moment, we'll circle right into the commissioner meeting here. Thank you. Mike, thank you. Paging Commissioner Tyler, paging Commissioner Tyler.
He's on his way.
Sure. Absolutely.
You should give her the Rush Limbaugh audio too.
You know, I have to find that. It's on some old computer that doesn't work anymore. Unfortunately, the article is still available, but the audio is not still on the website. I've got it somewhere, but it'll take some doing.
All right, great. Okay, then we will roll right into saying welcome to the Lake County Board of Commissioners meeting. This is our 41st meeting of October 13, 2022. Let's see. Madam Clerk, roll call, please. Oh, you know what? I am totally off my game. Would all those who are willing and able please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of our country.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Grant us, O Lord, light to our understanding, prudence in our investigating, foresight in our planning, sincerity in our deliberating, the grace to follow truth in our judgment. Help us to be moved in our decision, neither by fear nor by self-interest, and to do our work faithfully. May we respect the authority vested in us, for Thou art the source of all authority, and may we use our directives for the common good, and for Thy honor and glory. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you all. Okay, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Tyler.
Here.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Here. All right, very good. We're now coming to our first public comment portion. I believe we have a presentation from our Senior Services Coordinator, Aaliyah. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
I just wanted to share with you the outcome of yesterday's Caregiver Forum. So yesterday we hosted the Lake County Caregiver Forum, which was first of its kind here in Lake County. And the forum was intended to connect providers and with older adults and caregivers of older adults to make them aware of the array of services available here in Lake County. We had 28 vendors attend. Adult Protective Services was there, Council on Aging, as well as many other local vendors who participated, and we received a lot of great feedback that the forum allowed organizations to really connect in meaningful ways with guests. On the wall, you can see a picture over there. We posted 3 questions to caregivers, including what caregivers or older adults themselves needed, wanted, and some of their challenges. So what we're going to do, Chris and I are going to compile all this information and share it with the vendors that were in attendance, just so we can learn some better ways on how we can communicate the services that are already available in Lake County and also address some of the gaps for seniors here. Many guests that attended commented that they were not aware of the extent of senior services that are available here in Lake County, which leads me to remind everyone that the Senior Services Levy is a vital component to ensuring that we are able to continue to meet the needs of older adults here in Lake County, especially considering nearly 30% of Lake County's population is 60 and older. The levy is up for renewal. It is not a new tax. It'll be on the November ballot, and the levy provides funding to 14 different agencies and critical services to older adults. Some of these services I just want to mention are home delivered and congregate meals, home maintenance projects, case management services, homemaker services, adult protective services, the volunteer guardian program, operations at 9 area senior centers, and non-medical in-home care services. Joe will talk about the in-home care program in a little bit, but that was it.
Very good. Thank you. Any
Thank
questions for Leah? Ma'am, thank you. No? A little later. Okay, just checking. All right. Continuing on in the first public comment portion, is anyone wishing to address the board? Sir?
John Music 45 Coventry Drive. I just want to thank you for recognizing the seniors, but also, as the commissioners have said, there's many people are hurting and will be hurting. This isn't going to go away. It's like a lot of people have adjustable rate loans out there. I think last time I looked, 2/3 of the people are living paycheck to paycheck. And when you start increasing what they're paying for existing loans and so forth, it isn't just the seniors. The seniors aren't going to get raises. Now they're talking about, oh, we're going to get a raise in Social Security. But it's never more than what the CPI went up. So you're still losing. So, I mean, just don't forget, because the day when Suzanne and their sheriff comes in and says, oh, we're not busy, that's a good day. But just like Mike Zurin had said, that the number of people coming to get food, up to 300 or so, it is not a good thing here in Lake County. And I don't care what you say. Same thing, the sheriff's busy. Why is that? And just like my high school, now we're going to have 3 deputies in there. Why is that? There are just so many things happening, and it's just to the point is we have a lot of work to do in Lake County, and I'm glad our investments as regards the county are doing well, but it's a big difference in investments for the county money versus your money, each individual. So, like I said, I'm glad the county itself is doing okay as far as their investments go, but a lot of people's investments, they're hurting, and they get the draws and so forth and so forth. So, all I'm saying is, don't forget to be good stewards of the taxpayer dollars, because there's a lot of people that are and or will be hurting, because, like I said, this isn't going to go away overnight. Thank you.
Hey, John, before you leave, if I could, just very briefly, I wanted to follow up with you from one of our previous conversations. With the inflation report being announced this morning, 8.2%, everybody's eyes were on the cost of living adjustment for Social Security recipients. So Social Security Administration just posted it. It'll be 8.7% for next year, just so you know.
Oh, that's good.
Okay.
This time, but we still to make it up from the last year's rate.
That's
so.
right. It's always lagging.
That's right.
Yeah.
So,
And
okay.
John, thank you for your expression for the importance of law enforcement and pointing out our sheriff's office as a key player in that. Again,
Correct.
without a strong law enforcement, strong prosecutors, strong judges, court system, our society is going to be challenged. We do have a lot of influences coming into Lake County. I believe, if I remember correctly, over 46% of the cases in front of our prosecutor's office are non-Lake County people coming into Lake County and committing crimes. We are a happy hunting ground, and that's something that we need to be very, very much aware of. I hate to put it that way, but to your point, thank you. No, we are trying to be good stewards, and that does have a cost.
Well, like you just said, if we don't have our military and our law enforcement, which includes all 3, it includes our sheriff, the prosecutor, and our judges here in Lake County, we will not have a county. And last time I looked, Lake County is part of our country, and we will lose all of them. So we have to prioritize, and we got to do what we got to do. So, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Sam. Very good. Anyone else wishing to address the board at this time? Anyone else? All right, moving out of the first public comment portion to our first agenda item. Madam Clerk.
In the engineer's office, resolution approving plans and specifications for McKinley Crossing subdivision in Painesville Township.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Tyler.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
In the Utilities Department, resolution approving final change order number 1 with Neroni & Sons Incorporated for Hazel Avenue Sanitary Sewer Rehabilitation Project number 402S, decreasing the total contract amount by $173,814.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Tyler.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution certifying unpaid water and sewer sums and administrative charges to the Lake County Auditor.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Tyler.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution approving plans, specifications, and estimates of cost in the amount of $426,619.77 for sanitary sewers for McKinley Crossing subdivision in Painesville Township, job number 22-15.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Tyler.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution approving plan specifications and estimates of cost in the amount of $316,764.28 for water lines for McKinley Crossing subdivision in Painesville Township, job number 22-14.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Tyler.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
And Job and Family Services Department, resolution appointing Liz Miller to the Great Lakes Ohio Regional Prevention Council as a county prevention specialist to complete the remainder of a 2-year term expiring December 31st, 2023.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Tyler.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution approving Lake County Department of Job and Family Services vouchers, date of warrant October 21st, 2022, in the amount of $566,297.74.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Tyler.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
In the Commissioner's Office, resolution awarding a bid contract to Lake County Council on Aging to administer and manage a non-medical in-home program for adults age 60 and older for the Lake County Board of Commissioners.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? There you go. You're teed up. Welcome.
Good morning, Commissioners, President. I am Joe Tomsick, CEO for Lake County Council on Aging, and here to talk just for a moment about our non-medical in-home care services program that is administered by the Lake County Council on Aging. You know, when a senior begins to struggle to sustain their lifestyle independently, non-medical home health care can provide the supports that assist that senior with their daily routines. Home care provides compassion and help on varying levels of individual needs. And this program, the non-medical in-home care services program, has provided in-home assistance for Lake County senior citizens to support, of course, what we all want, aging in place in our own homes. And the Lake County Council on Aging has administered this program since the original award in 2019. Eligible seniors are assigned a contracted home care agency that provides in-home care every week. Caregivers provide assistance based on tasks that are outlined in a care plan, first assessed by one of our outstanding Council on Aging social workers. Some of the tasks that the individuals can receive include assistance or supervision with bathing, personal care, light housekeeping, laundry, changing linens, planning and preparing meals. We are grateful for this program provided through funding of the Senior Services Levy and the Lake County Board of Commissioners. I want to thank our current 2 home care companies that we contract with through the Council on Aging, Comfort Keepers, as well as Home Instead. And with me today is our Director of In-Home Care Services, that's Danielle Phillips, and I want to thank her too for overseeing this program. Just last year in 2021, it provided 5,259 total units of non-medical services to 92 senior households here in Lake County, and we look forward to this new contract, and we're grateful for the opportunity. So thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Anything for Joey?
Mr. President,
Sir.
I would just say this particular contract reflects the importance of our senior levy and supporting our seniors. It's the only levy that goes toward in-home care, senior centers, Council on Aging, and all the other senior services that Lake County provides. It's a renewal. There's not a second, third, or fourth. It's one levy for all of senior services. And this is about not just supporting our seniors today, but making sure that each and every one of us will have the opportunity to age in place in our home, live independently as long as possible, and have the care we all deserve in Lake County.
Thank you.
Very good, thank you. Okay, if there's nothing further, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Tyler.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
In the Finance Department, resolution approving payment of bills as listed on the Commissioner's Approval Journal in the amount of $2,856,380.34.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Tyler.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution approving purchase orders as listed on the Commissioner's Purchase Order Approval Journal in the amount of $1,366,967.01.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Tyler.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution increasing appropriations for various non-general fund accounts.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Tyler.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution transferring cash and appropriations within various general and non-general fund accounts.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Tyler.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
In special resolutions, resolution proclaiming October 2022 Breast Cancer Awareness Month in Lake County, Ohio.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion?
Mr. President,
Sir?
this is a very difficult topic for a lot of families. It's a very, very common ailment and disease at this point in our lives. It used to seem to be rare, but I don't know anyone who hasn't been touched by breast cancer at this point. My own mother is a survivor and in remission right now, and I hope that by increasing awareness as to preventative methods, the right medical care, we can help to reduce the suffering and increase those who can say they are survivors. So I'm glad that in a small way our county can contribute to this, and I'm grateful for the support of the commission to make this possible.
Agreed. And as we do include in the resolution, this is not just women, although it's literally, as it states here, 100 times more common in women than men. Men also have to be aware of this. So this is something very real. And if we can just in some small way just raise awareness, then we're helping contribute to that worthy and worthwhile task. Commissioner Tyler, anything you want to add, sir?
Sure. Awareness is a huge part in dealing with breast cancer. So many of our families have dealt with losses. So many have supported those who are survivors, and as well as those who are dealing with it currently. So our hearts go out to them, and our prayers are with each and every person. Agreed.
And I would be remiss, though, again, by raising awareness and taking this very seriously, though. Again, in our own document, 11% reduction from 2010 to 2019. So there is a real value in early detection and just regular health care. So just wanted to get that into the discussion. If there's nothing further, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Tyler.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes, thank you. Okay, moving on to departmental reports. Utilities.
No report today, Commissioner.
Thank you, sir. Job and Family Services.
Good morning, thank you. I have mentioned before that when the federal government declares an end to the public health emergency, that many of the public assistance programs created or enhanced during the public health emergency will end. The public health emergency is still in effect. The federal government has shared that they'll give states 60 days notice when that is expected to end. So we are keeping our eyes and ears open. Perhaps we'll hear something in mid-November about the eventual end to the emergency. But the Ohio Department of Medicaid has recently issued some information to Medicaid recipients that I want to start getting out to the public, to individuals here in Lake County that do receive Ohio Medicaid benefits. And what the Ohio Department of Medicaid wants to be clear that all members here is that once the public health emergency ends, Medicaid will resume its normal eligibility review process. And so what that means is that eligible Medicaid members will have to renew their Medicaid coverage or they risk losing it. While the public health emergency has been in effect, members have not had to renew that coverage. So what can members of the public do now to kind of prepare for the eventual end of the public health emergency? What they can do is they can update their contact information with our agency, with Job and Family Services. They can stop into our building to update their contact information, or they can call a 1-800 number. That number is 1-800-324-8680 to update their contact information. That's going to be the most important piece to this, that information is current. Also, members are encouraged to open their mail sent from Job and Family Services because we will be reaching out to, again, make sure that we have updated contact information for members so that we could eventually start the eligibility process. So I will continue to mention this periodically over the course of the coming months, but I thought that it would be important to start the conversation now about reaching out to the state or coming into our agency. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, anything else? Very good, thank you. All right, moving on. Madam Clerk.
Yes, the next commissioners meeting is going to be next Thursday, October 20th at 10 a.m.
Thank you. And legal.
No reports, Commissioner.
Thank you, sir. All right, moving into old business. Do we have any old business to come before the board? Any old business? Moving on to new business. Do you have any new business? I do have correspondence from Carrie Dodson over at Lifeline Incorporated. This was just received just literally before this meeting. The Ohio Heirs, the statewide 211 governing body, has engaged a lobbyist from several of the Metropolitan United Ways to help them advocate for a statewide funding for 211. Ohio is one of the only few states that currently does not fund their 211s with state funding. Ohio Heirs is working with the Ohio Department of Job and Family Services to try to get this entered as a line item in their statewide operating budget. Right now, they're working on building support for this ask, and they're asking that if this board would be interested in helping to assist in this request, and they're looking to try to find a way to alleviate the funding strains of having only local dollars supporting 211. I know Job and Family Services, you work closely with Carrie over there. I personally believe this would be a worthy and worthwhile cause. I know they are struggling. It is a time challenge. Anything you want to add?
No, I would just add that certainly Lifeline is really a crucial part of our community, and any support that we could provide would be imperative.
And I would also add to that discussion, although 211, which is a resource for literally tying into other resources, they're kind of that air traffic controller, if you will, they are having funding challenges just like we're having with our 911 and the E911 systems as far as funding. The state continues to not want to properly compensate and operate these public safety answering points. Lake County is the primary for all cellular communications. Our friends in Mentor have stepped up, and they are the backup to the county. But there is a serious sustainability issue here, and there seems to be an unwillingness to say when you have an obligation to provide a service that involves particularly life safety, there's a cost associated with that. So people need to understand, if you want to do the job, there needs to be fuel in the tank to do it. So just want to enter that into the dialogue. Is there any other new business to come before the board? All right, this moves. I'm sorry, sir.
Jason's not here. I had a few items
Oh, please.
to go over. If you
Dive
don't
in,
mind.
brother.
Okay. This week, it was a short week, but I was able to do a few visits. I went to Project Hope on Tuesday. I was given the grand tour from Judy Burr and John Hutchinson. They run a great operation there. It was my first tour of the place, and I worked next door to it 23 years. It was just nice to visit. Judy and John, they spent all the time needed to explain all that they do, and they do some really great work there, so really appreciated that. And then yesterday there was a meet and greet with the Public Defender's Office, Vanessa Clapp and Melissa Blake, and that was my first opportunity to meet them both, and Dave's nodding. They're great people. I really like them. They also provide such an important function. I know it's one of our amendments. I believe it's the 6th. Dave, is that right? So make sure we get that in the record too. But it was interesting to learn so much about all that they do for the county and for the residents. So it was definitely worthwhile sit down. And lastly, I think we'd be remiss if we didn't discuss the breast cancer awareness, to pray and support for all the caregivers out there. That's it.
Very good, thank you. All right, and with that, this brings us to our second public comment portion. Anyone wishing to address the board at this time? Sir. Welcome back.
Yes, thank you. Well, tripped over there. Joe Thompson, Council on Aging. I'm also here representing as president of the Senior Services Levy Coalition. So we're a little less than a month away from Election Day, November 8th, and Lake County will have the opportunity
There's
to.
an election? Really?
Yes, you didn't hear about
John, you
it.
following this?
Yes, it's coming up a few weeks.
Not too worried about it.
Okay. Well, we want to be sure that our Lake County residents are educated and aware of a very important senior services levy. You've heard about it a little bit today at our meeting. We thank Aaliyah Barajas for talking at length about it as well. As a senior services provider through the Lake County Council on Aging, I've seen the impact that these tax dollars have on some of the most frail and vulnerable individuals in our community. This levy supports 15 different senior services agencies in Lake County and helps fund programs like Leah mentioned, home delivered meals and congregate meals, adult protective services, the non-medical program that you just re-awarded to the Council on Aging. Issue 5, the senior services levy, is not an increase. It will not result in any new taxes. It renews the 0.8 mil levy, 0.8 mil levy that passed with 65% of support in 2017. This is the same levy that was first approved by voters 30 years ago, back in 1992. The levy costs $2.30 per month per $100,000 of home valuation, and it funds about $4.5 million of support and programs each year. And every year, funding recommendations are made by an advisory and a recommending body to our commissioners. These are known as the Lake County Senior Citizens Advisory Panel. This compassionate group of individuals works to facilitate equitable and beneficial allocation and distribution of these levy funds so that they go where they're needed most to help provide a good quality of life for our seniors so that they can stay in their own homes and remain active in their communities. Seniors are a growing share of our population. As Aaliyah mentioned, in 2016, seniors 60 and over made up about 22% of our population. Today it's 27%, and by 2030, data tells us that seniors will be one in three of us will be 60 years or older. So as the county ages, we're going to have to deal, of course, with the challenges of disability, chronic disease, elder abuse, other tough issues. And each year we're seeing an increase in the number of seniors who are reaching out for our assistance, individuals needing service, seniors in crisis, and as well, an increase in the cost to provide those services. So this is why Issue 5, the Senior Services Levy, is so vital to our community and why we strive to continue to provide these important services. Since its inception, the Senior Services Levy has continued to show its effectiveness year after year, enabling seniors to maintain their independence and vitality. There's no debating it. We need to support our seniors here in Lake County. They've spent their lives making Lake County a wonderful place to live, and supporting this renewal, Issue 5, helps us keep them independent and thriving as great sources of wisdom and inspiration. And I thank you for your support of the Senior Services Levy. And I thank people like John over here who almost on a weekly basis talks about the important steps that we need to take to continue to maintain the good quality of lives that seniors enjoy here in Lake County. And I just appreciate this opportunity to get in front of or get in behind the camera, maybe, if it is. So, but thank you very much.
Oh, you're very welcome. And Joy, again, thank you for the information. It bears and it's worth repeating. And again, thank you for your recognizing the value that Aaliyah brings to things as our Senior Services Coordinator. She's our in-house expert. By God, she makes sure that every nickel is wisely spent. And thank you for all that you do and doing the same on your end.
You bet.
So bless you.
Hey,
Thank
Joe,
you, sir.
Joe, it's
Yes.
always good to see, we've worked together on a lot of different things over the years.
Sure
and
have.
You continue to have my support in all that you do.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. Thank you.
I would just add my thanks and say, make sure you put an issue 5 sign in my yard.
Okay, we'll get it there tonight. All righty. Thank you.
Excellent. All right, anyone else wishing to address the board at this time? Anyone else? All right, and with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Tyler.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes, thank you for joining us today. This meeting stands adjourned.